All right, Vimal, very, very good morning. We have your CV and welcome to this interview. This is your one of the interviewer, Kumar Gaurav. You can address me as Gaurav, and with me, Prerna is there. So she will also be in the panel to interview you. Prerna, very, very good morning. Over to you. You can just start. Prerna, somehow you...
Oh, I'm sorry, I was on mute. So good morning, Gaurav and Vimal, and thank you for your time for this session. We can start. Over to you, Gaurav.
Okay, all right. So Vimal, you have a CV with you and you have shared this CV with me. We are interviewing you remotely. And before we get started, why don't you take time and quickly brief us about you, that who are you, um, all about your background. We would love to hear from you. Over to you, Vimal.
Sure, definitely. So my name is Vimal Kakaria. I come from originally from Gujarat in India, state of Gujarat. I did my bachelor's in business administration from Bangalore University. My concentration was marketing. Then I did my MBA, Master of Business Administration from Long Island University, New York. Again, my concentration was marketing. Then I have been working as a BA business analyst role from since 11 years, basically in various industries like banking industry, insurance industry, healthcare industry, and insurance. So I've been doing that. Also emphasizing on the Scrum Master role as well while performing the business analyst roles and responsibility. So as a BA, my main responsibility is usually to gather requirements. That is one of the main responsibility of the business analyst. So I gather and document business requirements from stakeholders, including customers, users, and other project team members. This may also involve conducting interviews, workshops, surveys, to all that to understand the business needs and purposes. Then I have to analyze the requirements. In analyzing the requirements, I have to identify inconsistencies, gaps, or other conflicts, and work with the stakeholders to resolve those issues. This involves developing processes, models, use cases, and other documentation to clarify and validate the requirement. Then I have to assist our team, developing team, to designing the solutions. So I work with the stakeholders to design solutions, address business needs, align with the project goals. This involves developing a functional and technical specification, designing user interfaces, and defining system architectures. Then also I have to define the project scope. I'm responsible for managing project scope, ensuring that project goals and objectives are clearly defined, and that project deliverables meet business. They meet the business requirements. This can be defining. In that, I have to define project timelines, budgets, resources, and monitoring project progress against these goals. Then I also have to do communication with the stakeholders, facilitating and collaboration with the developing team, developers team, with the stakeholders. Then I also facilitate and testing and validation. So I assist and work with the test teams for testing and validating the project deliverables to ensure that they meet test business requirements and are free of defects. So yeah, overall, I play a critical role in ensuring that projects meet business needs and observation by gathering and analyzing requirements during solutions and designing solutions and managing project scope, communicating with stakeholders, facilitating collaboration and testing and validating. deliverables. So those are my main responsibility as a business analyst.
All right. Thank you so much for sharing that, Vimal. And we appreciate you this long brief, I would say, I mean, about your role and everything. One thing, what I'm sensing that one part where you have already spoken about your involvement in the project when it comes to requirement gathering and again collaborating with the dev team and test team are there. So that's that I totally understand. In between, you also quoted that you maintain project timeline and you also talked about project management and you also talked about scope management or something like that. So are you also into project management in your current responsibility?
So I mainly help and assist my project manager in that responsibility. So my main job is work around the gathering requirements and assisting testing team and facilitating communication between different stakeholders and developers team. So I usually assist my project manager with defining scope and regarding the other part of my project management duties. So so it's like a overlapping responsibility as a for project manager. Like sometime when he's not available, I have to take over as some of his responsibility. So that way, it sometimes is overlapping.
So how long you have helped your project manager in the project management itself? How long you have assisted?
So, like in my current project, since I've been doing since 2019, it's been like three and a half, 4 years. So, since 4 years, I've been assisting my project manager.
And you said that it is sometime overlapping responsibilities. And
Yes.
you also quoted about the scope management. So I would be more interested to know about that. How do you manage the scopes, the defined scope?
So scope is basically for the project scope is basically what the project has to project consist of the whole project. Then project has to what is deliverable for the project, what is the goal of the project that we have to define in the project scope. If there is any who are the stakeholders, who are the end user. So all that are covered in the project scope.
Yeah, that I understand. But how do you manage that scope? You talked about scope management. So I would be more interested to know
So
about it.
usually sometimes there is a scope creep which happens. So scope creep occurs when project expands beyond the original boundaries without appropriate control and management. This can happen when new requirements are added or when the project's objectives are changed or when project activities go beyond the project's original scope. So at that time, we have to manage the scope. So for that, we have to clearly define and document the project scope. Then we have to take care of stakeholders' expectation, like manage the stakeholders' expectations. So in that, we have to keep stakeholders informed about their project's progress, manage their expectation throughout the project, through regular communication with stakeholders about the project scope, timelines, and the budget. Also, we have to establish change control process. So there has to be a formal process to accept the change process for the scope of the project. So it has to be approved by the project sponsor or the key stakeholders. It should include review of the impact for the proposed change on the project's timeline, budget, and other resources. Then we have to monitor the project progress and also
Where do you monitor that?
I'm sorry?
Where do you monitor that, the progress?
So we monitor the progress through Scrum activities. during software development life cycle, and we have to manage the progress in whatever tool we are using, like Jira or Trello or any tools that.
So what do you use? Jira
So we use
or Trello or both? What do you use?
usually we use Jira for the track of the progress.
So have you ever created burn down chart or burn up chart in Jira?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you have created that.
Yes.
All right. So how frequent do you use Jira for scope management?
Jira is used almost every day to keep track of the progress for the team's work. Also to see Jira is mainly tool to do requirement management, traceability of all the user stories, reporting basically all the development work that developers do. They have to report on the Jira that if task is in the done stage, or they are doing in the doing stage, or in the test stage. So yeah, basically Jira can manage and track the activities of the project.
All right. Good. So you were also talking about control management, budget management, change management. Are you aware of the entire life cycle of change management and control management?
So control management and change management are part of change request, like request change. So usually change request is happen when there is after a few sprints, there is stakeholders have or the end client has different requirement or different need. Then there is a change in the requirement. So for that, first we have to for the change request, we have to analyze the request, what requests are being made. So when client requests change, the first step is to analyze change, what is proposed, determine the feasibility of the request. Then we have to examine the requirement document, review it.
Okay, Vimal, so thank you so much for your attempt to answer this. So Prerna, I'm good so far. If you have any question, continue, please.
Overall
You are
job
still on. Yeah,
responsibility. Yeah, can you hear me now? I'm not
yeah.
on.
Now you can. Now.
Okay. So I was saying that while you were answering or you were telling us about the responsibilities that you have in your current role, you did mention that you have to manage and you have to be in touch with a lot of stakeholders. So I
Yes.
want to know on daily basis in your due BAU activities, what kind of stakeholders you deal with, and what is your mode of communication? Like how you communicate, how you plan your meetings, and how you go ahead about it.
So usually in my experience, there are various stakeholders. So like development team is one of the stakeholder, end user is one of the stakeholder, client is a stakeholder, then all the like internal team, higher management is also a stakeholder. And then what was your following question
Yes.
again?
So yeah, you've answered the first question correctly, I would say. So I was asking you what all the stakeholders that you manage, which you just mentioned, and that's all fine. So I
Yeah.
wanted to check with you, how do you communicate with them? Like most of the stakeholders that you mentioned are more or less from your team, like your development team, your internal stakeholders. So what is the way, or how do you communicate with external stakeholders, like your customers or your third party vendors in case?
Yeah, so communicating with external stakeholders would be interview process, then observation, and like formal communication would be through phone calls or emails, or private messages, sending through a proper channel whichever organization has set. Then And usually, those are the mode of the
Yes.
communication.
Do you have any set meetings with them, like say fortnightly, monthly, or weekly catch-ups with the clients to provide the status or take the updates from their end,
Yes.
if any?
Yes, of course. We have to give them update of the progress of the project. So after usually every sprint, after there is a sprint like before the release, we have to give them update about the progress of the product or project or whatever project is about, and we do meetings if they want. We call through internet, then we give update on them through online conferencing. So
So you
yeah,
do have this set meetings with the customer or with the other external stakeholders, right? I just wanted to understand because nowadays many of us are working remotely. So, remote
mhm.
meetings or actual, I would say, in-person meetings,
Yes,
So along with that, even when you were, telling about your daily activities or responsibilities, you mentioned that you're heavily into documentation, right? So
yes.
BRD being, and then you also mentioned that you're into requirement gathering and in the scope management and scope understanding.
Mhm.
So I assume you have prepared BRDs. Have you prepared BRDs end to end?
Yes, ma'am. So in fact, creating BRD is one of the main responsibility of my job profile. So
Okay.
yes, I have
Yeah. So
created.
can you just elaborate what all components, what all important pointers, or maybe some diagrams, what all you include in your BRD,
So yeah, basically BRD is a business requirement document, which is a formal document that outlines the requirements for the project or system from the business perspective. The BRD is typically created during planning phase of the project and used to guide development team as they build the system. So creating BRD is usually is depends on company to company, like format of the BRD. So what I usually include in BRD is uh, like I do what I do, which all activity I do for creating BRD is like first I have to gather the requirements, then I define the requirements, then organize the requirements, validate, then I have to create the BRD. So BRD can consist first of all project scope, then business objectives, um, then it has to cover functional requirements, non-functional requirements, assumption and constraints, risk, acceptance criteria, mm, and stakeholders, information about stakeholders. Some diagrams can include like process flow
Mm-hmm.
diagram or use case diagram, and or whatever the organization or that project needs. According to that, we can add any other diagrams that can
Definitely. And also, you would be having an approval hierarchy as well for each versioning of the BRD.
Usually, yes, it depends on company to company. So we can add approval hierarchy. Also, sometimes we can add requirement traceability metrics also. Uh, and yeah.
So, do you have a team or you single-handedly manage this, or do you have any juniors or seniors with you to assist you on that or guide you on that?
Yes, so creating BRD is basically a collaborative effort, but to put together everything is my responsibility, but I definitely take help of my various team members, start from the project product owner to the developing team, to the from also external stakeholders like client and users.
Okay. So as you've mentioned that you interact with stakeholders, you prepare BRD, and You're in a constant communication with all the team members and all. So I just want to understand, have you ever come across any particular scenario where, assumingly, some of the requirements were not mentioned in the BRD earlier or not given by the client or customer earlier, but now they are being adamant, or they are quite willing to have those requirements or functionality in the existing project. So, in such scenarios, what are your steps, or how do you go ahead about handling that situation?
So that comes again back to that I explained about change requirement, change request. So first, as I mentioned, that we have to analyze the change request, that we have to what the change.
Let me give you an addition. Instead of change, it's like an additional requirement. Change
Okay.
CRs I do understand, but this is more like an add-on. So it
Okay.
was not covered earlier in your cost estimation. These
Mhm.
requirements were not part earlier when you had prepared the schedule or duration of the project. So this is something add-on, right? The
Mhm.
customer has maybe come up with as per their latest strategy or latest research. So yeah, in this scenario.
Yeah. So again, I think this add-on situation I would consider as a scope creep, where it initially is not defined in the project scope, because all the requirements are part of the scope. So if anything is add-on, then of course same process I will follow. Like first will have to analyze what things are added in my scope or added as my requirements. Then uh, then I will present those added on requirements to my higher management, and I present my case that if it is feasible for the project, if it is achievable from our team, do we have enough capability, do we have enough resources to add those, will our project get delayed?
Just sorry to interrupt you in between. Before you present this to senior management, and you said that you check the feasibility. Don't you check the feasibility with the existing Scrum Master and the development team, because they would be at a better state to give you the idea about how we can
Yes.
go ahead with the current strength. Yes.
Yes, yeah. So before I go to stakeholders, I first make sure with my internal team, which is a developers team, and my Scrum Master and product owner or project manager, that is this need that is now added, which are really feasible or not, or are achievable or not, or cost, it will increase our cost, for the project or not. So after doing all this analysis, I prepare a report regarding that added need, added requirement, and present it to higher management. And then I give my suggestion based on the scenarios and project, what stage of the project is right now, is should we add or not, and then decision is based on the higher management.
Okay. So thank you so much, Vimal. Gaurav, over to you. You want to add something to this?
Yeah, so I have a few questions. I was just going through your CV and got to know about you were mentioning in your latest project about
Yes.
feed design stage. Can you quickly talk about that?
So yes, so my current company is Technip FMC. It is based in Houston. So it is related to oil and gas industry. So Technip is feed stage is basically front end engineering design. So my company designs and engineers mix engineering plan and design of for our clients for their various projects, from downstream to upstream to refineries and all those. So yeah, that is the main feed based product main project I have.
And what you had done in M&T Bank means what was your responsibility, and along with JD, if you can explain some part.
So in M&T Bank, we had to create a new application, a banking application, where customer can create their account, do the internet transactions smoothly, and since previous application was not up to the mark and not up to date with the current user base and was not scalable. So we had to change the whole architecture of the application. So that's what we did in MNT project, MNT Bank project.
And can you just talk about EDW requirement? What was that?
So ADW is like enterprise data warehouse. So usually all the user data that is stored in enterprise data warehouse that we have to shift from current whatever infrastructure was used to new infrastructure that we did in one of our project in Unum Healthcare. That I did one project in that. So we use that EDW data migration.
So because you are talking about data warehousing, I'm sure that in your 11 years of experience, you might have come across of some SQL query writing. So how would you quote yourself or rate yourself on the scale of 1 to 10 for your knowledge of SQL, where 0 being the lowest and 10 being the highest?
Yes, so usually I can rate myself as 7 around.
All right. Thank you so much. So I'm good, Prerna. I don't have any question. In case you have further, you can continue.
Gaurav, I'm also good. So I think we can come towards the conclusion part.
All right. So Vimal, thank you so much. It was really great knowing you. Do you have any question for us?
So one question would be, I don't know, like when can we expect another round of interview?
Okay, that we will let you know for sure.
Okay.
Our HR will be in touch with you. Any other question apart from this outcome?
What are the job growth prospect in this company?
Definitely, you will be hired here as a business analyst. That's number one. Your job will be kind of, a combo job, I would say, because in some of the project you would have to, because while going through your profile, came to know that you have pretty good experience in Agile Scrum. So you will have to shoulder Scrum Master as well. In couple of the project, you will be, acting Scrum Master, somewhere business analyst. This is kind of a combo role. However, we are hiring right now to you as a business analyst, but you can expect yourself to, switching between the roles. So that is just for your knowledge.
Okay.
So did I answer your question,
Yes, yes. Thank you.
Okay, awesome. So, Prerna, if you have no question, can we say goodbye to him? Yeah.
Yes, yes, for sure. Thank you so much for your time, Vimal. It was nice having you for this interview session. And as Gaurav has mentioned, our HR will definitely get back to you on this. Thank you.
Sure, sure. Thank you very much, Prerna and Gaurav, to give me this opportunity to showcase my skills and to showcase my experience, whatever I have worked as a BA for 11 years. So thank you very much.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you so much. We'll talk to you soon again, Vimal. Bye-bye. Take care.